Hey, Troy here. I'm going to teach you what business development is, aka sales development or technology sales. All the names are really intertwined, and in this video, I'm going to be referring to it as sales development. And what I did is actually created an entire introductory course to business development that you can get on my website, coursecareers.com, for free, where we teach you how to start your career in business development without a degree or sales experience. So you can go ahead and check that out. And this is one of the videos from that free introduction course. So let's get started. So let's go ahead and learn about what is sales development. So your job is going to be to help companies solve their problems by purchasing your product. This means you have to get in touch with these companies and you have to teach them your product exists, your product can solve their problem, and the problem is worth solving. So here's a really good example of what your job looks like. So you're the link between a solution and a problem. So let's say you work for this software company that sells a software product, right? And there's another company who has a business problem. So how do you get your software product to that business to solve their problem? Basically, that's where you come in. So you're the link. You're the person who introduces the software product to the business and teaches them how it can solve their problem. So you make the connection between a problem and a solution. And that's your job as a sales development rep. That's the high level overview. So why do we need sales development reps if people can just purchase products on the internet themselves? I mean, if you want to purchase a car nowadays, you can go on Carvana and order a car to your house. I believe Tesla, they sell all of their cars self-service, so you don't even go through a car salesman. And real estate too, you can buy houses all without talking to a realtor. But what about sales development reps? Can people purchase complex business solutions without you? The answer is probably not. So business problems, they're really complex. It's not as simple as buying a house or a car. People don't know they have a problem, or they might not know a solution exists, or more than likely, it's too complicated for them to understand on their own. So a software company can't just put all the information online and hope that people who have this problem are going to understand the solution. You need someone like a salesperson who's able to talk to them to help understand their problem and help relate the solution to that problem and teach them how it works. So that's why we need sales development reps. That's why there's a ton of jobs, because you can't sell a complicated software solution to a company because it's just too complex. They might not know it exists, and they might not know they even have a problem in the first place. So here's an example. Let's go back here. So let's say you're a customer service. There's a customer service software. There's a customer service team, and they need software that can route their calls, route complaints. They can save customer purchase history, notes, etc., etc., etc. So think about you call a company like Amazon, right? You have a complaint. They have a system that handles all of this, that routes the call to the right person, that handles any complaints you make online, that saves your purchase history, and all of the benefits of that. But let's say you're selling to a company who doesn't have this software. They're just starting to grow now, and they need a software that can solve this problem, but they don't know which software to purchase or which would be the best fit for them. So that's where you come in. So you work for a company that sells this customer service software. It allows teams to better route their calls, handle complaints, save customer history, etc., etc., etc. So what you do is you take your solution and you go ahead and go over to that up and coming customer service team, and you teach them how your software solution can solve their customer service problem and their needs. And you make that connection, you make that link between the problem and the solution, and you get paid for that. So that's just one example of how this might look in customer service, but the idea is the same. A company has a problem, they need to solve it. You come in with a solution and you help them solve it. You make that connection. And businesses have tons of problems they need to solve. So check this out. Let's imagine you're selling to a warehouse like I was, a distribution center. So this distribution center, they need software that can run their inventory. They need software to automate package handling, to route deliveries, to buy from vendors, to manage their employees' time, to handle freight claims, pay employees, hire employees, train employees, and so much more. So basically, this single business, this single distribution center needs a ton of software. They need a ton of people, salespeople, who can provide all of these solutions to their problems. So this is why there's hundreds of thousands of jobs available, because this is only one industry, and they need a ton of salespeople. Imagine all of the industries out there and just how many salespeople it takes to solve all these problems and teach them about all the solutions available. It takes tons. It takes hundreds of thousands. So that's why our job exists as a sales development rep. And a sales development rep and a consultant are the same thing. So basically, consultants, they teach companies how to solve their problems with other people's solutions, and they get paid an hourly rate by the company. And as a salesperson, you teach companies how to solve their problems with your solution, and you get paid when they purchase your product. So a lot of time, consultants, they actually work with salespeople because at the end of the day, it's products and services that solve problems, and consultants are just here to teach companies about these different products and services that will solve their problems. So normally as a salesperson, you could be working with consultants, and you're actually a consultant yourself because you're doing the same job as a consultant. You're teaching them how to solve their problem with your solution, and instead of getting paid an hourly rate, you get paid when they purchase your product. So that's why a lot of people refer to salespeople as consultative salespeople, because you're consulting with these businesses, you're learning about their problems, you're providing them a solution. And a lot of people like to compare a salesperson to being a doctor. So you're like a doctor diagnosing a patient and providing a solution. So imagine you go into a doctor's office, right? Let's say you have some pain on your arm. What's the doctor going to do? They're going to ask you about your pain. They're going to say, okay, where does it hurt? What happened the past couple of days? Why do you think it hurts? And after they learn about your problem, they're going to diagnose you and provide you a solution. So we as salespeople, as sales development reps, we do the same thing. We learn about a company's problem, where they're having issues. And then if we learn our solution can solve that problem, we go ahead and diagnose them with our solution. And companies love that because we're like a free doctor. They don't have to pay us an hourly rate. We come to them, we help them out, and they only pay us if we can actually provide them a solution that solves their problem. So a lot of times when you're talking to these companies, they actually love talking to salespeople because it helps them improve their business. It helps them get promotions. When you solve problems for them, you're technically helping them do their job. And there's different types of sales. So let's run through all of them. So there's basically B2C or B2B. So B2C means business to consumer. So you're actually selling to individuals, like people like you and me. This could be like cell phones, or let's say you want to sell airplanes to individuals or whatever. You're selling to people. Business to business, you're selling to companies. You're selling to businesses, inside or outside. So basically you're working in an office, selling over the phone, email, computer, whatever it may be inside an office. You're actually not meeting that person in person. Or you're selling outside, so you're meeting them face to face. Inbound or outbound. So basically, are your customers and prospects, are they coming to you or are you going to them? Inbound is they come to you. Outbound, you go to them. Then finally, there's the industry. So what type of industry are you selling into? Are you selling software? Are you selling hardware? Are you selling pharmaceuticals? Whatever it may be. So let's go over some examples. So car sales, what is that? That's B2C. You're selling to consumers. It's outside sales. You're actually meeting face to face. And it's inbound. People are coming to your lot to buy a car. Cell phone sales, B2C, outside, inbound. So you're selling to consumers. Again, you're meeting face to face. Normally, you walk into a T-Mobile store. You see that person in person. And normally you're the person coming into a cell phone store. They're not cold calling you, hey, you want to come into the cell phone store, buy a cell phone. Real estate, B2C, so you're selling to consumers, buying houses. It's outside sales, and it's inbound and outbound. So real estate agents, they do normally a mix of both. So they get people coming in to them wanting to buy a house, and they're also the ones making the calls, sending out the emails, figuring out if there's anyone else who wants to buy or sell their home. Pharmaceutical sales, B2B, outbound. So normally you're selling to doctors' offices, you're normally going in person, meeting with these doctors, teaching them about your pharmaceuticals, giving them samples, and it's outbound because you're the person going to them. Doctors aren't going to pharmaceutical companies trying to learn about their products. It's normally the pharmaceutical sales reps going to the doctors. Then lastly, yacht sales. So let's say you have a high net worth individual. They want to buy a yacht. What is that? That's B2C because you're selling to a consumer. It's outside sales because normally you're going to meet on the yacht. You're going to show them what it looks like, how it functions, figure out what's the best yacht for them. And it's inbound. So normally that high net worth individual is going to go looking for a yacht, and they're going to come to your marina looking to purchase that yacht. So what is sales development? Well, like I said before, it's also known as business development or SDR, BDR. It could be called an inside sales rep or tech sales. So all these names are really the same thing. It's just an entry-level technology sales rep. And it's B2B, so you're selling to companies. It's inside sales, so you're selling from an office environment. So you're going over the phone, over email, over messages. It's outbound, so normally people aren't coming to you looking to buy your software solution. A business has a problem. You as a salesperson have to go to that business, normally connect with them through the phone, through email, through a message, and learn about their problem and help diagnose them with your solution. And also, it's tech sales. So with SaaS, if you ever heard of that word, that means software as a service. So normally, most of these sales development jobs are going to be in tech. They're going to be in software or hardware or a mix of both. So it's really technology heavy. So that's basically what sales development is. And so sales development has something called a split sales cycle. So that means as a sales development rep, you're not the person closing the deals or following up with customers after the deal is closed. Your job consists of researching new prospects, so people to sell your product to who could have the problem that your solution solves, then reaching out to them. So normally talking with these people through phone calls, emails, LinkedIn messages, and then doing discovery. So getting on the phone, learning about their problem, being that doctor, asking them questions, and then ultimately seeing if your solution would be a good fit to solve that problem. And then normally as a sales development rep, you get promoted to the account executive like we talked about. And the account executive is a person who does the demonstrations. So they're the person who shows the company how your product works, exactly how it solves their problem. They're the person who does the follow-up, and ultimately they close the deal and get the money to come in from that account. And then there's the account manager. So normally after you close an account, they get assigned an account manager. What that account manager is in charge of is making sure that customer is successful with their purchase. So they know how to use the product, they use it successfully. If they have any questions, they go to the account manager and ask them. And if they need to upgrade their product, they go to the account manager to upgrade it. So that's called upselling. So those are basically how the sales cycle is split up between an account development representative, an account executive, and an account manager. So let's really go in depth here about what you'll be doing on a day-to-day basis. So like I said before, your job involves three different things: research, outreach, and discovery. So about 25% of your time is going to be spent researching new prospects. So this is normally going to be done on the computer, figuring out information about which companies to target, who the right people are at those companies, what's their contact information, is there any sort of relevant information that would suggest they have a need for your solution. And then about 50% of your time is going to be spent reaching out to those prospects, normally with calls, emails, LinkedIn messages. So really just trying to get in touch with these companies to teach them about your solution and learn if it's a good fit for their problems. And then the last 25% of your time is going to be spent actually talking with these prospects, trying to discover if they would be a good fit to purchase your products or services. So really learning and diagnosing them, and then once you learn that they do need your products or services, they are a good fit, then you would schedule a meeting for them to meet with your account executive. And that's just a high-level overview of what you'd be doing. That's basically your job as a sales development representative. And here's the way you're measured. So you're going to be measured on your number of activities. These are the number of calls, emails, and LinkedIn messages you're making all together. So normally a company's going to want you to do between 50 to 200 activities per day. So that means between let's say the number was 60. They want you to do 60 activities a day. That means 20 calls, 20 emails, 20 LinkedIn messages. That equals 60 activities. And they also want you to have conversations with prospects. So when you're reaching out with all of your activities, some of those prospects are going to get back to you. They're going to want to talk to you. And normally you're going to talk to between 1 to 5 prospects every day. And then out of the 1 to 5 prospects you talk to every day, you're normally going to schedule between 5 to 20 appointments, qualified appointments for your account executive. So these are the people who you learned would be a good fit to purchase your product. So you go ahead and schedule a time for them to meet with your account executive. Work environment. So what's the work environment like as a sales development representative? Well, like I said, you normally have the option of working either in an office or remotely. So you could just be sitting behind your computer at home or wherever you feel like doing this job, or you could be working in an office. And you're normally going to be on the computer and on the phone normally the whole day. So that's what your job consists of: making calls, sending emails, sending messages, doing research, talking with other team members in your company, like your account executive or your sales manager. And it's also going to be energetic and loud. So you're going to be talking on the phone. You're going to bring energy to the table. You're going to bring excitement to these people's lives that you're calling. You're going to teach them how you can solve their problems. That's something that's exciting, interesting. So there's going to be good days and bad days too. So the good days are when you get a whole bunch of people on the phone, or they respond to your emails, you schedule a bunch of meetings, you're making a lot of money, you're going to reach your quota. Bad days, maybe no one answers, maybe no one responds to you, maybe you get rejected. And then what happens on a normal weekly basis as a sales development representative are your emotions are all over the place. One day you could be really happy, the next day sucks, the next day you're really happy again because you're doing great. So it's really just a fun roller coaster. That's how I like to envision it. And here's an example of a day in the life. Let's say 8 a.m. You arrive at the office, you get your coffee, and between 8 to 9, you're responding to emails from the previous day, you're checking your calendar. From 9 to 10, you're researching new companies and adding in new prospects. From 10 to 12, you're making phone calls to people in your outreach, and then you take an hour to have your lunch break. Then between 1 to 3, you're going to be sending personalized emails and LinkedIn messages to your people in your outreach. Then you'll take a little break, maybe maybe a coffee break or a snack break so you can finish off your day strong. And then you start doing your scheduled discovery calls. So after you talk with people, you schedule a meeting. Now you're running those meetings, learning if you can help solve their problems, talking to them on the phone or over Zoom. And then between 4 to 5, you're making your afternoon calls to people in your outreach. So this is just a good example of what an average day in the life of a sales development representative might entail. And that wraps up what is sales development. So the next step is to learn how you can actually get your foot in the door and start your career in sales development without a degree or work experience. So go ahead and click onto the next lesson to learn how you can do that.